Here's a conflict of interest. Gavin.
What am I going to do if Trump gets reelected? Probably get a significant tax break. Hey, you want to know why I don't even talk about Trump in my show? Because that motherfucker is not the hokey pokey. He is not what it's all about. There's millions of people that put him in power, and the ideas that he puts forth are not his own. He's singing poor white people's greatest hits. So why the fuck would I worry about him and not the other millions? Really, you know who I'm going to vote for next time if things keep going the way it's going is that gay dude. No, Mike Pence. It's a safe place where I can tell some jokes. And I find out that this comedian I know, Chris Tucker, who's in all those Rush Hour movies, I find out that Chris is in San Francisco too at some charity event. So I call him, I'm like, yo, I just saw you at some charity event. I said, I'm doing a show at the Punchline. Why don't you come by the club after your event? He's like, cool, Dave. I thought you was dead, nigga. I'll come by. He says, is it okay if I bring some friends? Because, I'm with a lot of people. I go, man, you Chris Tucker. You can bring whoever the fuck you want. And then I show up to the club late that night. I walk into the dressing room, and sitting in the dressing room is Gavin Newsom, who at the time was the mayor of San Francisco, but now he's the governor of California. And sitting next to him was Kamala Harris, who at the time was the DA of San Francisco. Now she's the senator from California that's front running on the Democratic ticket. And sitting next to her was Al Gore. It was fucking weird. And sitting next to Al Gore was the guys from Google, Sergey, and I don't know how to say these. All right.
When I listen to this, I see some kind of planned things to steer his opinion.
And it was Chris Tucker and Ben Jealous, who at the time was the president.
Oh, and San Francisco's Federal Reserve is in Salt Lake City. Why?
President of the NAACP. It was all just at this big charity dinner, and Paul Mooney was drinking scotch. And we all was just in there. First I was a little uncomfortable when we started talking, and we all got along really well. At some point, Kamala Harris she says to me, she goes, a friend of mine is announcing his candidacy for president tomorrow. I went to college with him. I'm like, what? I go, Barack Obama? She goes, you've heard of him? I'm like, yo, I just read about this dude. And she goes, yo, yeah, blah, 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 we're talking. She goes, you know what? She says, let's call him on the phone. I said, what the fuck? And she picks the phone up and she dials and she's listening like this. And she goes, this is voicemail. And she gives me the phone. She goes, leave him a message. I didn't know what to say. I just said what you say to any black dude that's running for president. Stay low, running his exact path. Stay low, running his exact pattern, this kind of shit. And then the last thing I say is, you know what? I said, sir, I really do believe you can do this. Like, man, I'm wishing you luck. Now, next day I wake up and go for coffee at a place called the Embarcadero. It's like an eatery by the sea in San Francisco. And I'm walking to the coffee shop and there's a police line and I can't cross the tape. But then I figure out, I'm Dave Chappelle, so I go into the thing like this. And the police yoke me. These motherfuckers tackle me immediately. And I see over the police's shoulder, Gavin Newsom. I couldn't remember his name, but I remember the night before I had kept teasing him and saying he looked like Christian Bale, the guy from the Batman movies. So I see him and I can't remember the name, so I'm just like, Batman, help. And he stops, just like, Dave? And then the police see that the mayor knows me, so they all like, sorry about that. And he's like, hey, back up, everybody. And he just picks me up. He's like, I'm really sorry about that. I'm like, I'm fine, don't worry about it. And he's like, listen, I'm here with Prince. Would you like to meet him? I'm like, I know Prince. That's my nigga. And we go around the corner, and it was Prince Charles, the Prince of England. I didn't know the protocol of meeting royalty. You're not supposed to touch him. I dapped him up like a nigga. My nigga. Just hugging him and shit like this, dapping him up. Like this. And that nigga was cool too. That was really fucking weird. And then I was just out there in the upside down, not having no TV show, trying to figure life out. And the election was going on in the background. And this guy, Barack Obama, was picking up steam. This motherfucker was killing it. And I had a chance to go to the last debate on the Democratic ticket, and I went. It's me and Chris Tucker sitting in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. It's the last three candidates. It was Barack Obama, John Edwards, and Hillary Clinton. Now, Obama's a lot taller than Edwards and Clinton, and he had the center podium. And at one point, they're all on stage, and they start fussing, and Obama goes, look, none of us are perfect, like this. His hands was like this, and there was light shining behind his head, and the other two candidates was looking up at the nigga, and I was sitting in the audience like, this nigga looks like Jesus. And I realized in that moment that I was looking at the next president of the United States. I was certain of it. I couldn't explain it, but I knew what I was seeing. And I got really excited. I'm not that kind of guy. I said, I gotta meet this motherfucker. So I stayed. They were all on stage doing interviews, and I just waited. I was waiting and waiting. And then John Edwards was done with his interviews first, because everybody knew he wasn't going to win. And I see John Edwards, and I said, hey, Senator Edwards, I just want to say hi. And that motherfucker looked like, fuck you, nigga, you gonna lose anyway. And then he left, and Hillary Clinton just walked by me in one of the Steve Harvey suits. But Obama was taking forever. Everybody wanted to talk to him, and I knew the media saw exactly what I saw. There was no question about it. That was the guy. I waited, and finally, must have been over an hour and a half. He finishes his last interview. He's like, we don't think much. And he turns around, and he makes eye contact. He sees me. And when he sees me, he looks over, he goes, Dave Chappelle. And Obama did me the same way I did Prince Charles. He like bro hugged me, and he pulled me in, and I'll never forget this. He said in my ear, I got your message. Thank you very much for your friend. Celebrity hunting season. No matter what I say, they're going to get everybody eventually. Like, look, I don't.
Oh, just like Trump. Never liked Trump until stuff I was exposing, he was saying. It was weird. That's how they play you.